Hi guys, back once again to talk about Doctor Who, and this time we're talking about episode 2, and I don't know what to say about this episode. I genuinely, look, this series of Doctor Who so far has been better than the first few episodes of Peter Capaldi's run, that's for sure. Because if you go back and look at that, you'll know how much I hated that season. So I am enjoying. I know there's only been 2 episodes so far, but they've been consistently good. They haven't been great, but they've been consistently good. I think, you know, they've certainly raised the bar in the quality of the show, in the quality of the production, and it shows in, you know, in the locations and choices, in the way that it's being filmed, in the whole way that the show has been assembled. It is a much better quality product. But that being said, I think one of the problems I really had with this episode was that I think if you weren't in the UK, if you weren't a citizen of the UK, I think you probably had to watch this with the subtitles on, because I've got to go back and rewatch this episode because I know I missed a lot because I just couldn't understand a word they were saying. It was really difficult for me to pick out what it was that was coming out of their mouths. So I know I've missed something in this episode, but and I will have to rewatch it with the subtitles. That was probably the worst thing about the episode. I couldn't make head nor tail of what people were saying. I think I followed the story along well enough though, to be able to get a grasp of what was happening. And what was really the story to this episode? It was a get us from A to B, and it was okay. It was there was plenty of fun to be had, but the challenges seemed to be quite arbitrary. They just seemed to be like, and now this happens, and now this happens, and now this happens. And there didn't really seem to be any sort of, I don't know, there didn't seem to be any sort of consistency between one thing or the other. You know, there were killer bed sheets, there were killer robots, there was killer water. I don't know, if it kind of felt like, to a lesser degree, the death zone, the Gallifrey death zone from the 5 Doctors, it kind of felt like that. But, you know, they would just come across these weird things, but these whispering bed sheets that were flying around were just like, there was nothing really scary about it. And, you know, Doctor Who doesn't have to be scary when, you know, if you're going to go for a more action-y sort of story, it doesn't have to be scary, but if they were going for scary, then they missed that boat completely. Ironically, they got on a different boat. Again, the show does look fantastic, and they have definitely raised the production standards of this series of Doctor Who. And do you know what? There are some lovely moments in this episode as well. Not a great deal of character building going on, but there was a lovely, genuinely lovely moment between Graham and Ryan, where he's talking about, you know, you talk about this sort of stuff too much, and Graham says, well, you don't talk about it enough, and it was a nice little moment there. And aside from that though, character-wise, Yaz didn't really do a lot. The Doctor didn't do a lot. There was a lot of sonic waving going on in this episode. Point a sonic at something and press the button. And there was a lot of that. There was a lot of that in this episode. And you know, they finally get to where they're going, and hurrah, everything works out okay. The TARDIS shows up, and the TARDIS looks, on the outside, the TARDIS looks like the TARDIS, and and I stick by my statement of what I said about the interior of the TARDIS. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Yeah, we've seen it in its full light, and we've seen it with... it just looks hideous, doesn't it? Oh, Jesus. It's just this smoke-filled, dusty... I just don't like those crystals, the glowing orange crystals. It just looked hideous. And the fact that the console had a Sands of Time, you know, I can't remember what they called them, an egg timer, an egg timer and a custard cream dispenser. What are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know who this show is targeted for. That just seemed like I guess that they are trying to go for a family audience, and they are aiming at a younger audience as well, but come on, the console dispenses custard creams. Oh, God alive. I just... Every single time I want to say something positive about this show, something else comes along, knees me in the nuts and goes, haha, you didn't see that one coming. And I didn't. I thought that the console was going to be the, as I called it, steam trash, which it is, which I don't understand. If you're going to have a brand new console that's, you know, the TARDIS is regenerated, why would it have a trashy console? I don't get it. I don't understand. Why wouldn't that be brand new as well? It just... I don't know. I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it at all. The spinning TARDIS thing on the console as well. But yeah, it was the custard cream that did it for me. It was just like, right, done. No, I hate this. I firmly, absolutely hate this console room. Blue glowing lights, because if you can't make it good, make it blue. But look, let's get back to talking about the story, right? Which is a pretty plain story. You get from A, you get to B. You've got these two characters in the story that are racing to win the ultimate prize, which is a lot of money apparently, and you get to save your family as well. There were some moments that were just thrown into this story whereby it felt like there was a commentary on the scientists that made the atomic bomb, I felt, which was kind of it was loose. It was a loose thing, you know. There was that almost sort of and now I've become the destroyer of worlds sort of thing when the Doctor's reading the painting on the floor, because that's what scientists do. They when their life is being threatened, they decide to paint a big mural on the floor. Had it not been so loosely lashed together, this could have been a great episode of Doctor Who. But there were so many things arbitrarily thrown in. Like I said, it was just loosely lashed together against the backdrop of this race that it really didn't do a lot for anything. It was trying to be exciting, but the trials that were ahead were vague, and the solutions to the problem were kind of pants. You know, the Doctor knocked out the droids with the EM pulse. Bandicafalata, anyone? And then, you know, she set fire to the bed sheets. Right, okay. Didn't really deal with the microbes in the water or the atmosphere, or nothing ever grows here. There's all these trees everywhere, but nothing ever grows. No bacteria, no life forms, trees everywhere. Everywhere. Bushes. Don't know what the Doctor's description of life forms are anymore. But I think I'm trying not to come down hard on this episode, but I'm trying to be positive as I can about this show. But this episode was once again just a notch above okay. It was enjoyable enough. I think I enjoyed this episode a little bit more than the pilot, and I did enjoy the woman who fell to Earth. I know it might not seem like it, but I did enjoy that episode, even though I felt it run long. And I've since watched the episode again, and I still feel it run long. This episode I felt was a good length, but there wasn't really enough. There wasn't really enough sensible backstory to what was happening to be able to tie all this stuff in together to make it a solid episode. That, again, it was just so many arbitrary things just thrown in here or there that I just felt like it was like they were making it up as they went along. And I know they were in the script department, but I mean, as an episode, it just felt that way. I think, I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this episode for what it is, which is just a race from A to B. But again, the difficulties I had with understanding what they were saying in this episode, like particularly Mumbles, I don't know what the hell he was saying. I'm gonna go around and come down here, I'm gonna win the race, I'm gonna go around there, and then we're gonna go around and I'm gonna light us down, we're gonna snap your me. Didn't understand him. Not a sodding clue what he was saying. So, and it wasn't just, like, I didn't understand him, I didn't understand her, there were times I didn't understand what Yaz was saying, and there were times I didn't understand what the Doctor was saying. So, that's really where I'm going to have to leave this episode. It's just the fact that I'm going to have to go back. Maybe there'll be something more if I watch it with the subtitles on. But difficult to understand. The story seemed fairly simple. Just a lot of bump thrown in. But it looked great, and again, a lot of sonic screwdriver pointing and waving. Was there anything really brilliant about this episode? Nope. Nothing I can think of. It's a pretty run-of-the-mill episode, and again, it seemed to be fun. It seemed to be a fun sort of episode to help kick off the season, but they need to be doing better. They do need to be doing better than this. I'm loving Bradley Walsh. I'm loving the character of Ryan. I love their interactions. Everything else seems a bit pampered and a bit fluffed up and a bit unnecessary. I would actually watch a series of Graham and Ryan by themselves, without the Doctor, without the TARDIS, I would actually watch that show. Which is a shame, but there we are. That's where I'm going to leave this. Tell me what you thought of this week's episode of Doctor Who. Did you understand what they were saying? Leave it down in the comments down below, and also feel free to hit that thumbs up button, and if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do. I could use your support. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there, and I'll see you next time, guys.